All right, hi Gabrielle. So you have another pack with us. Good. I'm glad to see that. Let's see if we can get you to that 7 because I know you're really, really close. So let's see what happened, okay? All right, this is the one about schools being more entertaining. Let's see what you said here. Some people believe that the main critical feature of schooling is not on academic. The main feature is academic education. Yeah, and you know what? No, it's just is academics. So what is the main feature of school? Academics. Okay, that would be a more accurate way of saying this. Let's try that again, okay? Some people believe that the main critical feature of school is academics, whereas others hold the opinion that more curriculums should be based on entertainment, such as music or drawing lessons in school. I believe that the primary purpose of schooling is academic learning, again, not on. However, adding creative subjects like music lessons might be beneficial to develop other skills like creativity. For this reason, I would suggest to add it as an additional subject. This essay will analyze both sides and use examples from Harvard and the Dutch government to provide points and support arguments. Okay, it's kind of long for an introduction. You really went into some detail here. You know, my feeling about this always is that the introduction has a couple of main purposes. And once you've fulfilled those purposes, move on. In other words, you have to basically rephrase the question and then you have to answer whatever the command is. Okay? In other words, you have to give your position. Once you do that, it's not really worth your time to spend more time on the introduction. Instead, it's a lot more worthwhile to develop the body paragraphs more. Okay? Because that's where you're going to get points for task achievement. So if you've answered whatever the command here is, which you did, okay? If you've answered that, then you've pretty much fulfilled the main target of the paragraph. And after that, it's important to really develop your body paragraphs, okay? So you may want to consider shortening this a little bit and adding a little more meat on your paragraphs, okay? So let's take a look at what you said. On the one hand, one of the reasons people support more entertainment lessons is to develop other skills, such as social skills and creativity, which could be necessary for specific, but I can't talk today, sorry, which could be necessary for specific jobs. For example, a recent study from Harvard indicates that 77% of the USA's architects had had drawing classes during elementary school 3 times a week, which developed the students' feelings of lines, colors, and three-dimensional perspectives, which are essential key skills for architects. For this reason, it would be beneficial to support creative subjects in school to develop other skills rather than academic learning. All right, so check it out. It's a very nice paragraph. It's very good, but there's a major problem with it, and it comes from this word here, entertaining. What do we mean by entertaining? All right, now as we know, in IELTS, your vocabulary, your understanding of vocabulary is never really directly tested anywhere, but in a way they are testing it here. So what do we mean by entertaining? Okay, entertaining means enjoyable, fun, lighthearted. Okay, think about entertaining television shows, an entertaining movie, something that kind of makes you forget yourself and just kind of get swept away in this lighthearted, funny sort of activity. So think about that. Okay, entertaining could be games. Entertaining could be like watching movies in school. Okay, so some of these activities would be considered entertaining. So when you start talking about, where was it? Drawing classes don't really have that element, do they? All right, so this is something I really want you to think about here. Okay. All right, so in other words, my point is that it's not entirely on topic, and this is something that happens to people all the time with this essay. You know, they think, oh, creative, they think, oh, non-academic. But just because an activity or a lesson is non-academic, that does not mean that it is also entertaining. Okay, so do let me know in your email if you understand my point, or, you know, if you don't agree with me, or if you don't understand what I'm trying to say, then, you know, just let me know and we can talk about it a little. Okay, so let's move on. On the other hand, proper academic education is required for better job opportunities. This is due to the fact that it gives children a certain level of knowledge, which might provide them with the opportunity to get promoted and receive higher incomes. For example, a recent survey from the Dutch government shows that 85% of the Netherlands promotions are based on educational qualifications certificates. Consequently, students need to get a proper education program, which provides them, hold on, is that a comma here? I hope not. You don't need that, okay? Which provides them a better perspective for future, not a better perspective, you mean which provides them better prospects, P-R-O, okay? Prospects for further jobs. That would have been a better word here. Okay, this for me felt a little underdeveloped. And if you take a look at it, look, your introduction is actually longer than this body paragraph, which for me is not such a great thing to do. You definitely want to expand on this a little further. It did feel a little short, so I would have taken away from this a little bit. All right, now, the other thing is, let's see, which do you agree with? You said one of the reasons people support, let's see, it would be beneficial. Okay. You know where my concern is here? They're asking what you agree with. You told us that you don't really agree with, and then you said people support more. You know what? I think I would have preferred it if you had not written people support. I think if you had said instead, on the one hand, one of the reasons to favor or to support more entertaining lessons. Do you know why? Because they're not really asking you what other people think. They're not asking you to discuss both views and give your opinion. They're asking you which of these two opinions do you agree with. So if you can see some validity in this, then go ahead and express it. But we don't want to know necessarily what other people think. We want to know how this aligns with what you think. So it becomes this kind of tricky little slope here. Sure, you can have a concession paragraph and you can talk about what the other side is, but you have to present it as your thoughts on this issue and not what other people think, because they didn't really ask you. They asked you what you agree with, okay? Let's see. Yeah, I mean, you did say here that you kind of, okay, yeah. So I don't want to know what other people think. I want to know what you think, okay? All right, so let's look at your conclusion. To conclude, from the arguments and examples given, in my opinion, the main focus of education is on traditional learning. Not is on, but should be on. Because it gives children basic knowledge, get rid of the A, which is required to get a better job. However, although entertainment and learning, I don't like this expression, entertainment and learning, no, which seems to be less important than academic learning, I believe it also develops, S, not ED, skills such as creativity, which might help, who is them? You never tell us who them is here, who might help students during their work or people. Therefore, I would suggest to add creative lessons next to academic learning, but not as the main focus of schooling. Okay, that's fine. So you were kind of somewhere in the middle. You said yes, entertainment, but no, just like the main focus. So I think I've talked about this quite a bit to give you an idea of where some of the issues are. I mean, it was well written and everything, but in terms of the task achievement, there were some issues for me. Okay, and I think I talked about them, so you should have a good idea about what I thought those issues were. So I want to instead move on to your task 1. Let me know if you have any questions about this feedback, okay? Or if it's completely clear and you understand what I'm trying to say, then let me know that too. What happened here? It looks like it's around 150 words. Yeah, 173, fine. Okay. What is this? This is the total member income. Fine. The given line graph illustrates the total income of IMG World Bank employees. Is that what they mean? I totally understood this differently. Let's see. No, it's trade zone members. So I think it means, according to the IMF World Bank, it's a special trade zone. So they don't tell us which, I guess, countries or whatever were in this trade zone, but it sounds like it's a special group of countries, I guess. Yeah, that's how I understood it. So it's not really talking about the employees. It never says employees anywhere. So I do feel like you might have misunderstood this a bit. Okay, let's move on. The given line graph illustrates the total income of IMG Special Trade Zone members between 1990 and 2000. Units are measured in U.S. billions of dollars. Overall, during the decade, the income of the zone members rose significantly with a steep increase between the years 1993 and 1997. Okay, that's true. Regarding the graph, the lowest income was at the beginning of the period in 1990 with around 125. Careful. Look, it's on 125,000 billions. It says it right here. So careful. An examiner looking at that is going to say right away that this is inaccurate, and that's going to mark you down for task achievement. This number remained the same until the following year. From there, it rose, not with, but it rose by about 21,000 billion dollars until the following year. All right, it's a little, okay, fine. From here, the figure again plateaued. It did. Okay, until the consecutive year to approximately 135,000 billion. During the following 3 years, the income, not salary, of the World Bank members had a dramatic increase, and the figure, not wages, the figure more than doubled from about this to the highest peak of approximately this in 1996. Let's see what happened in 1996. Okay. However, this number slightly declined with about, not with, but by about around $2,000 in the next following 3 years. After this, the amount rose again, but this was marginal and ended with around 173,000 in the following year, 2000. Okay, so other than the fact that you misunderstood what the graph was showing you, it was good. I didn't really like the major detail here in the beginning. I felt it was kind of like you were focusing too much on this. I mean, you could have really done something different. You could have, it's 1, 2, 3 years, essentially. You could have just said that the first 3 years were marked by a plateau followed by an increase and then another plateau. All right, and you could have just given us what those numbers were. So I felt you kind of went into a lot of detail about this. It wasn't totally necessary. But then after that, it got a lot better. All right, careful with some of those. You kept using with when it should have been it declined by, not it declined with. And you use that a couple of places. So be careful with some of those prepositions. All right. So, okay, let's see your next set. Gabrielle, I'll be waiting. Like I said, if you have any questions or any comments about the feedback, let me know in your email. Okay. I'll be waiting for your next set. Good luck.